to move your prospect from a relatively undisturbed state to a state where he should go to a must change level. Those are little green horns that he grows because he's become angry and he wants to change. So safe, untroubled, to must change. To move that prospect, you have what we call as the status quo barrier. This barrier consists of four things. The first is attention deficit. The second is risk loss aversion. The third is change burden, and the fourth is what we call as the incumbency advantage. Now we'll keep coming back to this diagram again and again, but the first thing I wanted to talk about is attention deficit. Consider the following numbers: 100,000, 25, and 825. An average office-going, city-based commuter who works for about 8 hours in the office listens to and is bombarded by over 100,000 words per day. Now, I did check with the researchers. It doesn't include the words that his mother-in-law tells him. At any point in time, 25 agencies vie for your attention. Compete for your attention. And that's why we call this the attention economy. With so much of distraction, a human being's attention span is now at an average of 8.25 seconds. Now, before some of you congratulate yourselves, a goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. So welcome to the world where our attention spans are lower than that of that little fish in your aquarium. This is what you need to get through to gain a person's attention, and therefore you need to start with what we call as the memorable insight. Let me give you an example. This was narrated by a person called Srinivas Uppaluri, who was the head of marketing of Infosys. When he was a young man, and he went along with his partner for this, they had to rewrite their accounting system and redraft it for a Bank of Baroda. So this was up in Connaught Place in Delhi. So these guys walk in. There are about 7 or 8 rather old gentlemen sitting out there, very serious looking. And so Mr. Uppaluri and his partner, who was the managing partner of the firm, go there and sit. And the partner says, as his opening remark, 12 of your branches in Delhi cannibalize revenue from each other. Immediately all the 8 said, how can you say that? Where is the proof? How did you arrive at this? Mr. Uppaluri after that was saying, the question was then no longer about price. The question was then no longer about who are you going to put on the job. The question was, when are you going to do the job? How are you going to deliver it? How can we help you deliver the job in a better way, make you deliver the job in a better way? This is driving a conversation through a memorable insight to eliminate attention deficit. The next one we talk about is risk loss aversion. Now, imagine you're newly married. Let's look at it this way. Let this be the actual gain that you make, and the pleasure or the sense of success that you get out of this gain. Now, to give you an example, you're newly married and you let it known to your wife that you like rice and lamb stew. So what do you get for dinner first day when you come back from office? Rice and lamb stew. You are happy. Your gain and your pleasure, the pleasure is a little more than the gain, actual real gain. The next day, what's for dinner? Rice and lamb stew. The next day, rice and lamb stew. By the end of the week, you don't want to listen to lamb stew. This is what economists call as the law of diminishing marginal utility. In plain language, the more you have of something, the less you want of it. Now, interestingly, the thing is not the same on the other side of the equation. If this is the loss and this is the pain you see, because you feel because of the loss, the curve is actually very deep. Instinctively, human beings would love to avoid losses because they feel a lot more pain in their loss. Now, this is what is called the prospect theory. It was developed by a person called Daniel Kahneman along with his partner Amos Tversky, both of them brilliant economists. Daniel Kahneman won the Nobel Prize. Amos Tversky by that time had died and Nobel Prizes were not awarded posthumously, and therefore he did not get it. So how does this apply to us? A lot of the times what we emphasize is the gain that the customer or your prospect can have by choosing you. So this maps to this much some value. Whereas if you can even explain a little loss, if your prospect continues in the same way that they're doing right now and they are relatively in an untroubled state, if you can add that, then the value that you get is far greater. This behavior is considered as a very rational behavior by human beings because of evolution and other things, and this is what is called risk loss aversion. Thank you.